Don't take my word for it. Listen to your body. Your heartbeat just shifted. Your shoulders tightened. Something deep inside is nodding. That isn't new information. It's the soul remembering where your boundaries were once bent. If you grew up in a culture of be nice and a calendar packed to the edges, you were praised for empathy, but few taught you how not to dissolve. Today we open a door not to make you cold, but to help you stand warm with a spine. First, let's name the terms people often mix up. Empath, you resonate with others' emotions like an unseen instrument. HSP, highly sensitive person, heightened sensitivity to stimuli, not necessarily absorbing anyone's feelings. Codependency, a relationship pattern that keeps you safe by being overly useful. Fawn, the automatic, please others reflex to avoid danger. When these layers stack, we mistake them for virtue. In truth, they're old unconscious contracts. You might ask, so what's my issue? Try 3 quick checks. In the last 7 days, how many times did you say, it's fine, I'll handle it, while your insides were begging for help? Do you walk into a room scan for who's unwell and auto-adjust yourself to fit the climate? When things finally get quiet, do you feel exhausted even when nobody asked you for anything? If you're nodding, you're not weak. It's your shadow moving behind your persona. This video isn't therapy, it's a map. By the end, you will spot the psychological contract that makes you carry what isn't yours. Practice a first boundary sentence that stays kind without collapsing. Begin a simple dream practice to converse with the unconscious. We'll use an old language you already carry symbols. Don't fear the negredo, the dark alchemical stage, because when everything looks tangled, the raw metal is being fired into inner gold. I'm not here to say just love yourself more. My ask is more practical. Call back the energy you've been sending out unconditionally. That won't make you selfish, it restores your inner sovereignty. Compassion doesn't shrink, it refines. You still feel, but you don't sink. You still help, but not at the cost of your backbone. If this is your first time hearing Jung's voice, picture a lamp leading down into the house basement of your psyche, where the forgotten parts wait to be named, anger as a gatekeeper, sorrow as a river needing banks, the inner child who simply wants to be believed. We go down not to get stuck, but to come back up with a new order. Before we continue, make one small promise. In the next 24 hours, say one plain no, instead of a long, apologetic explanation. I'll guide you through the rest. Next, we'll examine the hinge moment, when an empath stops people-pleasing, what shifts in your mind and relationships, why the masks fall, and how to stand still in the world without turning to stone. If you're ready, the journey begins now. Imagine your life as a house with many floors. Upstairs, we laugh, work, love, and post our weekend photos. But beneath the floorboards where few ever go, there's a basement where quiet contracts were signed long ago. For many empaths, those papers were drafted in childhood. I'll read everyone's feelings to keep the peace. I'll smile to avoid the storm. I'll carry the weight if you promise not to leave. These weren't sins, they were a child's survival wisdom. But once grown, the same contracts exhaust us. Which clauses have you been unconsciously obeying? In American Be Kind culture, it's easy to be praised for being gentle, flexible, helpful. No one teaches that kindness needs a backbone. At school, you soothe arguments. At home, you learn to read your parents' footsteps in the hallway and forecast the weather of the night. Your body became a radar sensing microshifts before words arrived. That sensitivity is a gift, but without boundaries, it turns you into a sponge soaking up the room's sorrow. A sponge heavy with water eventually tears. Have you felt that weight lately? In Jung's language, those contracts cluster around complexes, feeling tone knots of memory formed around our primary caregivers. If mother was warm only when you were good and could read her mind, a mother complex may fuse love with pleasing. If father was distant and quiet, a father complex may teach you to earn recognition by being endlessly useful. And because the psyche speaks in symbols, we don't just remember the past, we repeat it magnetized towards similar scenes, hoping for a different ending. Ever wonder why you keep ending up in the same kind of relationship? That's the complex replaying its old song. A common confusion: empath and HSP, highly sensitive person, are not identical. HSPs are primarily sensitive to light sound crowds. Empaths automatically resonate with and often carry other people's emotions. Layer on the fawn reflex, pleasing to stay safe, and you become a mirror for the room. reflecting exactly what others want to see. Do you ever walk into a space and before you ask what you need, scan who's not okay and adjust your voice posture, even plans? 3 everyday signs. Work you take on extra tasks to make it easier for everyone, then lie awake exhausted. Family, you're the peacemaker, even when your hands shake and your heart's tired because someone has to. Love, you interpret your partner, explain them to themselves, and park your own feelings for later. If any of this stings, don't blame yourself. You've been loyal to a childhood survival doctrine. The problem is that you grew up and the doctrine kept running your life. Another mechanism of the unconscious is projection. What we refuse in ourselves shows up on someone else's face. Many empaths endure the world's anger because they have perfected the art of suppressing their own. Yet anger, when heard, is the gatekeeper of boundaries. Ban it, and it returns as fatigue, confusion, even depression. Are you calling burnout busy? Calling unfairness, karma? Calling avoidance, forgiveness? Here's a pocket map. Persona is the mask we wear to belong. Shadow is the backstage life exiled for not fitting the image. The self is the deep center where all parts have a place. When the persona, always kind, always available, hardens into a uniform, the shadow stores anger, desire, ambition, energies that feel scary but fuel boundaries, creativity, and self-respect. Empaths aren't broken. They just need to bring that exiled life back to its rightful seat. Now, 3 clear scenes. Office at 10 p.m. Lon gets, "Can we still hit the deadline?" Her throat tightens. She replies, "I'll handle it." Morning, she's wrecked and colleagues are not trained. The silent contract. "If I'm always available, I'll be valued." The shift begins in the body. My chest is heavy. I want respect. Then the boundary line appears. "I'll deliver by 10 a.m. tomorrow, and next time I need requests before 5 p.m. No defense, no blame, just reality and conditions. Family, men plays human bridge. Mom sighs, sister fumes. Min smiles. "I'll talk to her." He thinks it's love. It's actually irrationally rescuing the system to avoid the truth everyone must grow. His boundary, a deliberate step back. "Love you both, but I won't stand in the middle. I believe you can talk directly. I'm here if you want a family session with a therapist." Not abandonment, returning each task to its owner. Love falls for a quiet man. She explains him to himself, reads what he won't say, and believes if I'm patient enough, he'll stay. Mature love doesn't pay the most understanding partner. It blooms between 2 people with boundaries. Her test line, "I hear you need space, but disappearing for days makes me feel unsafe. I want a clear rhythm of connection. If that doesn't fit, I'll step back." She chooses herself without shaming him. That's a step toward the self. A mini checklist for this week. Before answering a hard message, hand to chest. Ask, "Is this mine to hold?" When your body alarms, tight shoulders, knotted belly, pause, 10 seconds. Breathe slowly, name the feeling. I'm anxious, angry, ashamed. Rewrite one old contract as a short sentence, then add a new clause. I no longer trade outer peace for inner chaos. This isn't a mantra. It's how you inform your nervous system that childhood is over. The empath's hardest moment is when saying no feels like betraying yourself. But refusal doesn't kill compassion. It gives compassion shape. Water needs banks to become a river. Without them, it's a flood. You have the right to let others carry the consequences they create. You have the right to be heard without over-explaining. You can be kind without making yourself small. Jung reminds us that the way down is part of the way up. When you stop soothing everything, the basement echoes old scenes, old dialogue, the scent of resentment. Don't panic. That's simply the map expiring. You don't need to overanalyze. Observe with your whole body. Tonight before sleep, jot 3 quick lines. Whom did I carry today? What did my body feel then? If I told the truth, what would I want? These 3 lines invite dreams, the unconscious's favorite language, to meet you. In the next part, we'll learn to hear them without losing ourselves. Before we close part 1, know this: you are not alone. Share with our community people learning to love with a backbone, one old contract you just spotted in a single sentence. Omit names. This is a safe room. When you speak it, the dark loses power and you gain companions. Train, my old contract is, my new clause is. We will read and many will recognize themselves in your words. Next, we'll meet the hinge point. What really happens when an empath starts saying no? Why do masks fall around you? Why do some people get angry, others go quiet, some relationships fade? More importantly, how do you stand steady in that swirl without going stone cold, keeping a warm heart and a straight spine? If this resonated, come one floor deeper. The basement isn't a place to live. It's where you gather the lost pieces before you climb the bright stairs. There's a tiny second your whole life turns on you. Inhale, your throat starts to say sure, and an old whisper rises no. It isn't loud, but the ground shifts. In that moment, you withdraw an invisible contract you signed long ago, the one that says you'll quietly carry everyone's feelings so the world stays calm. When no is spoken, the old balance begins to crack. Don't panic. In Jung's language, that's the instant the persona splits just enough for the self to breathe. Why do people often react so strongly when you set a boundary? Not because you're cruel, but because you tilt the stage they've been performing on. You used to be a soft mirror. Whoever arrived saw the mask they preferred. When the mirror stops reflecting the shadow they once parked in, you comes home screaming. Expect confusion, anger, the silent treatment, even accusations. That's the ego's self-defense when the unconscious is summoned. The key is not to confuse their reaction with your worth. A gust of wind doesn't mean the boat is off course. It means trim the sail. Inside, a storm kicks up too. After no, a parade of shadows marches in guilt, fear of being left old, voices calling you selfish. Name it clearly. Not truth, just echoes of the old contract. Let the breath be your anchor. Hand on chest, whisper, I'm trembling. I'm safe. Boundaries are a form of love. From here, you'll need the art of translating heart into words, how to say no without piercing armor, how to stand tall without turning to stone. Work scene. It's 9:30 p.m. Someone texts, can you rush fix this draft? Old reflex rescue. Body exhausted. Try, I'll review in the morning and deliver by 10 a.m. Going forward, to protect quality, I need requests before 5 p.m. Calm language, clear timing, transparent conditions. No apologizing, no lecturing, just putting banks on the river. Tomorrow there may be a frown. Let it pass. People who respect riverbanks learn to wait. People who want instant floods will go find a different floodplain. Family scene. Mom texts, swing by this weekend and talk to your brother for me. Old, you would run into the fire to earn the golden child badge. Gold doesn't fear fire, it travels with fire to be refined. Try, I love you and I trust you and him to talk directly. I won't stand in the middle anymore. If needed, I'm open to all of us seeing a professional together. You're not abandoning, you're returning each heart to its rightful responsibility. Then prepare for uncomfortable silence, days, maybe weeks. That's the fresh space where a family's maturity can take root. Love scene. You're dating. They disappear for days, then pop back like nothing happened. You empathize, understand, and your body contracts. Try. When contact drops for days, I feel unsafe. I need a steady rhythm to continue. If that doesn't work for you, I'll step back. This is the crossroads where compassion grows a spine. They might leave. Their leaving doesn't lower your value. It frees space for a love that can keep rhythm. Beware the equal and opposite temptation swinging from sponge to stone wall. A wall brings instant safety but ages the heart. Jung's voice points to a third way, an open heart with a spine. You don't hide in a fortress. You stand in life's public square, upright hands open. You still feel deeply, you still tremble before beauty and pain, but you don't sign new contracts without reading the clauses. If you like structure, try the 3-layer boundary rule. Layer 1, curious compassion. Could we set earlier deadlines? Layer 2, facts and limits. I can't take more tonight. I'll send it by 10 a.m. Layer 3, consistent consequence requests after 5 p.m. Roll to the next day. Practice in 3 arenas, work, family, intimacy. After you speak, your body will buzz. Trust it, that's the electrical line getting rewired to the right schematic. Expect aftershock, blow-ups, stonewalling, guilt maneuvers. Treat it as a resonance test. 4 questions worth a pause. Am I reacting to now or to the past? Does this belong to me? If I don't rescue, what's the worst 24-hour discomfort and can I bear it? If I say yes, what's the hidden price? Sleep, self-respect, re-signing the old contract. Answer honestly and no gets less dramatic, more directional. Safety first if there's coercive control. Intimidation, stalking, financial control, or any violence. This isn't a romantic archetype. It's danger. Pair boundaries with a safety plan, support network, and professional help. Being kind to yourself includes knowing when to bring allies. This video is a map, not a substitute for therapy. Strength isn't doing everything alone. It's calling the right forces at the right time. Care for your nervous system after each boundary. 10-minute phoneless walk to complete the stress cycle. Box breathing with a hand on your belly. 1 page, 3 columns. What I said, what I feared, what actually happened. Often fear is bold print. Reality a period. Warm tea, a few stretches, gentle music, teaching your body that boundaries exile from the tribe. A quick in-meeting lifeline. Stop, name, choose. Stop, 2 fingers on your sternum. Name, I'm afraid of being seen as uncaring. Choose, I'll listen for 10 minutes and I won't take extra tasks today. Add a sensory reset notice. 5 things you see, 4 sounds. You hear 3 skin sensations, 2 smells, 1 taste. Body returns to the present. The soul remembers the door home. Keep a few warm, boundary-honoring lines. I care, and I don't have enough surface for this right now. I want to help, and I need you to carry a responsibility for your feelings. I'm here, and I can't be the container. Listen for and it keeps a bridge without building a wall. Repeat for a few weeks, and you'll meet something very Jungian in entheodromia extremes reverse. The less you rescue on impulse, the clearer you become, and love gets slower, steadier, cleaner. 3 compact tools to steady you. 1. Body-mind traffic light. Record your green or yellow-red signals. Green lighter after contact. Yellow lots of explaining. Red poor sleep, fear of speaking truth. 2 to 24-hour rule poem. In conflict, pause a day to settle the body. Then speak in 3 sentences, observable, fact-feeling boundary. 3. 7-day no-contact trial for hazy ties, not to punish, but to measure dependency. Expect day 1 jitters. Day 3, miracle fantasies. Day 5, highlight real nostalgia. That's the brain trying to keep the loop. See it, and you pull the plug. A quick map for the hidden loop. Reward, guilt, repeat. Reward, room calms, praise, good person, pillar status. Guilt, exhaustion. Shame, without me, they'll suffer. Result, behavior, repeats against the body's truth. Track 5 dials for 7 days. Sleep quality. Morning energy. Number of silent resentments. Last clean, no minutes to come down after a heavy call. You'll see the loop draw itself. Then run a 4-question algorithm before opening the emotional gate. Is this pain mine? What role fits witness, small practical, help, or call a pro? What are my limits today? How will I restore after walk, warm shower? 3rd line right, seek clinical help for panic cycles, depression, domestic violence, self-harm, thoughts, or substance misuse. Symbolic language helps us understand. Safety and treatment need trained teams. Finish with minimalist dream work. 3 striking details. Object-filling action, 1 tiny day act to walk with the dream vines. Cut 10% of a non-essential commitment. When a boundary holds nights change, the unconscious starts sending letters in images instead of alarms. If you want a simple ritual, tonight notebook by the bed, 1-line invitation. If there's something I need to see about boundaries, please send me an image. Breathe 4 to 6, 3 rounds. In the morning log, the most vivid image, a body sensation, and a short title like a painting. Ask 3 Jungian questions. Pick 1 verifying act and do it. Community prompt. What is 1 sentence you'll use in the next 48 hours? Drop it below, no names or details. We're here to learn language together, baby, the banks that let the river of love keep its shape. And if you're already practicing what changed in your body after you said your first clean no, next episode we step deeper into dream work and the inner figures who shape our boundaries so the heart stays soft and now it has a spine. The night after your first honest no is strange. The room is quiet, but inside you 100 waves are moving. This is the midpoint of the journey, what Jung called the descent to the underworld, where the ego stops shouting and the unconscious begins to speak in an older language. Images, dreams, a tight chest, a held breath, a memory flickering like a firefly. Don't rush to fill the space with work or screens. This silence isn't punishment. It's the tunnel door opening, inviting you to retrieve the parts of yourself you once gave away to be loved. In alchemical terms, this is the nigredo, the black phase. What seems solid begins to flake in old habits, old roles, old contracts. The ego panics, if I stop pleasing, I'll be abandoned. Let that be an echo from childhood, not a verdict on reality. Stay with the dark a little while, and a small flame appears, the fire of discernment, the power to tell what is me and what is not me. Often the first visitor is anger. We were taught anger isn't spiritual yet. In Jung's map, it's the boundary keeper. Exiled, it turns exhausted and vague. Welcomed back, it stands at the gate and says simply, "This is not for us." Treat your dreams as letters from the soul. For sleep, whisper, "If there's something I need to know, please send me an image." No begging, just an open door. On waking, don't touch your phone. Jot the raw fragments. Narrow stairs, house without walls. A wolf's steady gaze, water flooding the kitchen. Now listen in Jung's preferred order. Personal associations, first collective motifs, later. House without walls might be a childhood where everyone walked into your room. Narrow stairs could be an opportunity you fear to climb. Flooding can be other people's emotions pouring into your nervous system. Ask, what memory does this touch? Where do I feel it in my body? Then choose one small daytime act. Dreams like action. If you dream house without walls, build a tiny wall. Mute notifications for an hour. Post a sticky note that reads, "Is this mine?" If you dream the wolf, try one clean boundary line, no explanations. At midday, when the mind is clearer, use active imagination. Sit close your eyes, call back last night's strongest image, and speak to it as a living figure wolf. What do you want from me? Write down whatever comes awkward and all. Don't beautify. Honor the meeting with one physical gesture, a hand to the sternum, before email attends slow steps before replying in a call, a small stone in your pocket as a reminder. Not magic, just a string tying inner image to outer choice. Give anger a safe practice room. When you feel the surge, tell your body, "I will harm no one, including myself." Open a window, plant both feet, breathe a 4-4-4-4 box. If your body wants to move, tap your thighs, shake your hands, press the soles into the floor. Let the wave complete its 90-second arc. Then write one clear line. I'm angry because I will. Once anger finishes its guard duty, you'll find warmer water beneath it, grief, the wish to be believed. Touching that layer is the healing. Anger is the gate. 2 of her day portraits from this descent. Austin Lewis, a nurse, has just set boundaries with relatives who always need a hand. He dreams of a house flooded to the ankles. In the morning, he reads it kindly, "The water is other people's emotion. Ankle deep means I caught it early." He mops, plays soft music, and sends a short text, "I can't help tonight. Let's talk this weekend." The next night, the water in his dream drops to mid-foot. That's how the unconscious speaks. When you act, it retunes. Boston Maya, a student, dreams of a wolf at the door. She's long avoided anger, staying nice by day. This time she breathes hand to chest and tells her roommate, "I'm not available to unpack your relationship tonight. I need to study. Tomorrow at 8, I have 20 minutes for you." The wolf doesn't vanish. It changes jobs from rumor beast to gentle guard. Remember, a dream isn't a puzzle to solve correctly. It's a hand extended, waiting for your small, real response. In our community space, share one image and one matching action, simple format, symbol action. Feeling after. We don't fix each other, we witness. 5 shares can teach the rest of us 5 new languages of the soul. Stay with Negredo long enough, and albedo appears the rinsing phase. Mind clear truth speaks softly but audibly. You stop scanning rooms to read the mood and begin asking your body, "What do I want now?" Sleep thickens by half an hour. One morning you pause half a beat before hitting send, not from fear, from respect. Every send sign's a contract. Then quietly, Rubedo returns the warm red of life. You say yes to what feeds you without a speech. You say no to what contracts you without hostility. Jung would call it a recentering around the self, a heat at the center strong enough to draw your scattered pieces back into a form. One more figure, the animus, not male versus female, but the inner principle of discernment, reason, direction in every psyche. In shadow, it's a choir of critics. You're ungrateful, you're weak. In its right seat, it's a compass. The facts are, my conditions are, viable options are, When the critic starts up, train it. I accept information, not insults. Say it again as data. Words shift, and so does your heartbeat. This isn't self-hypnosis, it's rebuilding the inner conversation so decisions arise from order, not panic. Yes, you'll want to reach for the old mask. Praise is immediate. Solitude stings. Remember, the loneliness of Negredo is like removing a pen so the bone can set right. No one lives in the basement forever. Basements are for refinding the path. Let each small act be a step, a cup of tea instead of a firefighting call, one breath instead of a long defense. A letter to yourself, I'm choosing to stay with you. When you taste the quiet of albedo, you'll want to share. Drop one sentence in the comments. Today my dream taught me, or my anger reminded me. We're practicing a new culture, people who feel deeply without dissolving, who help without carrying others on their backs. Every line you share is a paving stone for the ones coming after us. Next, we step into daylight to do the hard, necessary work, restructuring relationships. When you change rhythm, relationships change. Who leaves, who stays, who grows with you. How do you spot echo test the unconscious sending the old pattern in a new mask? And how do you set a 30-90-day track so the new life has shape, not just inspiration? If you have a pen and a few open squares on your calendar, we'll meet in the next chapter. When you've gone down to the basement on purpose, listened to your dreams and spoken your first honest no, the outer world will change rhythm. Don't mistake friction for failure. It's the aftershock of an old persona collapsing while the self returns to center. People around you aren't villains. They were simply leaning on your always available version. Pull the wooden prop and the house wobbles. Wobble doesn't mean collapse. It's the signal to rebuild with real materials. Picture your relationships as a 3-ring mandala. The inner ring is resonance, you're seen, heard, and free to say no without fear of loss. The middle ring is negotiable. 2 adults can learn a new dance. The outer ring is energy bleed, you leave smaller than you entered. This map isn't for judging anyone, it's for placing the right doors in the right places. When the self stands at the axis, you don't need to resent the outer ring. You just give it enough distance for the blood to return to the heart. Which ring are you standing in today? A young American caught between be productive, be kind, often keeps a calendar that reads like an ER shift log. Time to move from reactive to deliberate. Run a 7-day energy inventory after each interaction. Whisper, how's my body? Loose shoulders. Bright eyes, deeper breath equals resonance. Tight chest raised, shoulders racing heart equals your body asking for shores. No long debates. Your body is the truth meter. 3 everyday scene. I work Denver. Erin, a product manager, noticed that whenever the lead pushed late tasks, she became the firefighter to spare others stress. After inner work, she booked a 15-minute reset and set a new rhythm in 3 lines. The milestone I can hold is 10 hours tomorrow. To protect quality requests after 5 p.m. Roll to the next day. If it's urgent, we'll cut scope. Week 1 brought side-eye. Week 3, the team met earlier. Change one piece of a system, and the whole system must recalculate. Friendship. Zoe had become a nightly hotline, 90-minute tearful calls and shrinking sleep. She didn't want to cut off or drown. She said warm and clear, I'm here for you, and I won't take nightly calls anymore. This week, I can do 20 minutes Tuesday night. I also encourage you to add a support group or therapy. Silence, then shorter shares and healthier outlets. The friendship didn't end, its structure changed. Short family. Jay, the eldest in an immigrant family, long served as the bridge. He stepped back with intention. I trust each of us can speak directly. I won't pass messages anymore. If needed, I'll join a talk with a neutral third person. The next week was awkward. The next month, a real conversation happened. For the first time, love wasn't confused with emotional translation duty. This is where the positive animus, your inner faculty of discernment, takes his rightful role. What used to be a choir of inner critics becomes a calm clerk. What are the facts? What are my conditions? Options A, B, C. When you sign a new agreement with others, you speak in truth, not attack. Good boundaries are like a conductor, no shouting, just the right tempo. Build a gentle but firm 90-day path so your body doesn't panic while your relational ecosystem reorders. Days 1 to 30, identify and sort draw your relationship mandala list. The energy bleeds and choose only 2 relationships to reset. Each week, 1 short conversation, no long justifications, say what you can and cannot do. Days 31 to 60, stabilize. Hold the new terms consistently, schedule small recovery, windows after hard talks, and add 2 anchors, inner ring people to refuel. Days 61, 90, expand resonance, start a book circle, a drawing class, a walking group. When you're no longer the block's free charging station, you need real harbors that nourish you. On doubt days, am I becoming cold? Let the body answer. After a hard talk, if you breathe deeper, sleep earlier, and smile easier, you're on course. If you feel walled off and color drains from your eyes, open a window, text an inner ring friend, walk in sunlight and write, I choose warmth with a spine. Expect the ecotest, the old pattern dressed in new clothes. You declined late work last week. This week, a dream project needs overnight heroics. You clarified pacing in love. A new, even shinier person arrives with the same stop-start rhythm. Don't self-blame. The unconscious repeats to see if you'll re-sign the old contract. When the echo appears, pause 10 seconds, hand to sternum, and ask 4 tiny questions. Am I reacting to now or to the past? Is this mine? What's the hidden cost of right now? Which choice keeps me whole? Usually a calm spring opens inside. Ethics and safety. If there's control threats or violence, restructuring must include a safety exit plan, a support net, and professional help. Self-respect isn't only boundaries, it's the right to protection. This video doesn't replace therapy, it's a hand lamp in the tunnel. Midday micro rituals for a rushing Wednesday. Before a call, close your eyes for 3 seconds. What feeling is here? Name 1 word: anxious, eager, impatient, and let it pass like a cloud. In long meetings, ask for 60 seconds to turn camera off. Look out, drop shoulders, and exhale. At lunch, sit 5 minutes with your palm on the table's grain, a very old container where feelings can rest without shattering. Remember HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, 4 waves that thin your shores. If one lights up, care for it first. After dense encounters, HCL, stop, long exhale, assert the names, their sadness, my confusion. Let the water pass through, leaving a clean riverbed. At home, keep a tray by the door, your returning ritual. Imagine placing down a line, a look, a leftover feeling, then cross the threshold. Warm water over your hands for a minute unpicks the clinging threads. Clean boundary scripts. Short. No justification. Work. I can consult for 30 minutes. Implementation moves to next week with a clear owner. Friends, I can listen for 10, then I need to recharge. Family, I love you and this is bigger than me. Tomorrow, I'll drive you to the doctor. Love, I'm with you, but I won't carry your pain for you. I trust your strength. Community/faith. I'll take mornings. Evenings are for family. If someone asks, why smile? That's my capacity today. Not an excuse, reality spoken by a soul with borders. Aftercare, the part most people forget after a boundary, guilt arrives like echo waves. Don't argue with it. Regulate your nervous system. 10-minute outdoor walk. Warm water. Short hot shower. 3 lines. What did I protect? What am I still afraid of? What am I grateful for? If sleep's rough, hand on belly and breathe 4-4-7. You're teaching your body that safe no longer means disappear. Add a capacity ledger to pocket notebook. Each morning, rate 0-10 for sleep. Energy, willingness to listen, preset the day's emotional budget. 1 heavy call, 15 min. 1 support task, 30 min. When the budget's gone, don't overdraft. Stopping on time isn't selfish. It's how sustainable structures stand. Traffic light test for daily life. Green ease, yellow subtle discomfort, red tight contraction. On yellow, pause 3 beats before replying. On red, step out, balcony breath. These small exits aren't rude. They keep a person in the room worth meeting you. A quick real-world template you can use tonight. It's 11:58 p.m. in Seattle, and your critic hisses, send now or be judged. Call the guardian, the calm night driver. He says, safety first, speed second. Draft becomes, I'll send the full version at 9 a.m. Here are 2 bullets, so you're in the loop. The critic soothes anxiety with speed. The guardian lowers anxiety with structure and timing. Community practice. In the comments, offer 1 sentence. Others can mirror. Relationship X sits in ring Y this week. Here's how I'll adjust the rhythm. No names, no overexposure, just rhythm and choice. We'll meet you with respect, not fixing. When the circles start turning in true time, you'll hear a strange sound, not applause, but a quiet in the chest. You enter rooms no longer scanning for who needs you. You ask, how does my truth sound in here? That's the moment you stop being a sponge and become a tuning fork. From here, we'll live like a tuning fork in ordinary days. Choose calendars, words, people. Keep consistency without rigidity. Spot the echo test fast so you don't repeat it. Ready? We'll map your first 7-day resonance practice and give shape to the habit. Hand on heart, one last line to carry into the week. I don't have to be useful to be loved. I only need to be honest to be free. Breathe slowly, that breath is the door. We'll walk through together. Imagine your inner life as a tuning fork. No noise, no drama, just the right frequency. When your relationship circles rebalance, something quiet appears, inner consistency. Jung would call it a centering persona, shadow animus. The inner child no longer arguing over small things but playing the same key. From here, your work isn't to be perfect, but to keep that resonance through ordinary life on Zoom while brushing your teeth when someone asks for one quick favor. Start with a 7-day resonance week. Monday morning, make a tiny promise to your body before each decision. Pause 10 seconds, hand to sternum. Does this belong to me? Tuesday night, write 3 lines, 1 yes, 1 no, and how your body felt afterward. Wednesday noon, a 12-minute walk with no headphones to complete the stress cycle. Thursday morning, send 1 warm, clear message without over-explaining. Friday evening, turn notifications off for 60 minutes. Saturday morning, 1 small act that feeds the self-doodle water plants, read 4 pages. Sunday review with 3 questions. What kept me whole? Where did I leak? What will I tweak? You don't need a complicated scoreboard, just attention. Like any studio, a small gain knob turn changes the whole take. How do I stay open without dissolving? Practice generous edges. At work, I can review for 15 minutes and share top notes. I can't take the deep fixes today. In love, 2 evenings a week we do a 30-minute call. Outside, that I need space. In family, I'll help with true day of needs. Anything urgent after 5 p.m. rolls to tomorrow. Generosity becomes a river, not a flood. When tempting echoes show up, glossy invitations that are off-tempo, old pain in new clothes, a can't-miss project that demands all-nighters run, the 60-second 4 corners check. Rest your eyes on the 4 corners of the room, breathe 4, 4, 4, 4, and ask 4 times. If I say yes, what hidden cost? If I say no, what fear fires up? What choice keeps me intact today? 3 months from now, which choice will I be glad I made? This doesn't kill inspiration, it filters it. What remains is fewer but brighter. Make a very human calibration sheet, 3 non-negotiables and 3 flexibles. Non-negotiables, sleep before 11 p.m. No new requests after 6 p.m. unless truly urgent. 1 no screen hour daily. Flexibles, slide minor deadlines to keep goodwill. Choose safe silence over right vs wrong debate. Reschedule if your body's worn. Know what's fixed and what's soft. You'll bend like bamboo without breaking. Many empaths fear being seen as cold. Give your kindness a shape. Work after a boundary, share a resource that helps them move faster. Friendship, when you step back from being the 24/7 hotline, send a warm note, I care, and I need a new rhythm so I can be here long term. Family, if you won't play go-between, suggest a time with a neutral third party. A warm heart with a spine doesn't leave wreckage, it leaves signposts. Everyday anchors. Monique, a single mom in Phoenix, meditates 4 minutes before school pickup. She feared it was selfish. Those 4 minutes make 2 evening hours gentle. Devin, an engineer in Raleigh, protects a 90-minute deep slot each morning. Output rises and afternoons support the team within a frame. Hannah, a Portland barista, practices, I need 5 minutes when a customer escalates. The manager is surprised and then incidents drop. Small acts build a big bridge closer to yourself without farther from others. Let the body be your trustworthy meter. Each night, rate 3 dials, minutes of deep breathing today. Any moment your eyes brightened, whether your mind kept racing before sleep. No pretty answers, just truth. If you miss all three 2 days in a row, stop expanding. Return to basics, warm food, real sleep. Fewer words, one necessary task tomorrow. The self doesn't roll with momentum. It pauses to re-aim. Invite the healthy animist to act as your project manager. Morning, what are the three sole priorities today? Midday, where did I lose tempo? Evening, what one thing will I do differently tomorrow? Animus stops policing and starts designing a rhythm your heart can live in. If you're pulled into proving your worth, change the question from, am I good enough, to, am I honest with my frequency? Build community around depth, not drama. In the comments, share one line. Where will my tuning fork ring for the next 7 days? Maybe 5 quiet minutes before dinner, 2 nights of notifications off, or 1 plain no at work. When you name it, others grow brave enough to name theirs. As enough people live with edges, old systems must adapt. This isn't a loud movement, it's the quiet spread of inner order. And if you're tired and tempted to strap on the old mask for speed, remember, masks start light and grow heavy. Truth starts heavy and grows light. When that day comes, return to the smallest right hand to sternum, 1 long breath, 1 clear sentence. That's how the tuning fork starts again. There are tiny moments almost invisible that turn a whole life: a slower breath, a faint nod to yourself. If you've walked with me from the first no, through dreams, through rebalancing your circles, and learned to hum like a tuning fork, then right now, somewhere quiet in your chest, a truth is growing. You don't have to strain as a savior to be loved. You are allowed to be yourself, and real love knows how to find that truth. Jung reminds us we don't grow bright by imagining light, but by bringing the dark into consciousness. You've done that without noise or spectacle. You looked at old contracts, withdrew unconscious promises, returned the shadow to its rightful owner, and built banks for the heart. The end of this journey isn't fireworks. It's dawn, quiet, sure, brightening a little at a time until you realize you're already standing in the light without forcing it. Take this 5-minute integration right so the video becomes a real doorway you step through today. Minute 1, hand to sternum. Whisper your name and ask, what belongs to me today? What doesn't? Mine at 2, write 2 quick lines. 1, yes, you'll offer. 1, no, you'll keep. Minute 3, close your eyes and call back a recent image. House, staircase, wolf water. Ask it. What small action would honor this message? Minute 4, choose a specific time within the next 24 hours, hour, place, who's involved. Minute take 10 slow breaths. With each breath, let 1 old mask fall to the kindly ground. When you open your eyes, you're not a new person, you're yourself at a truer setting. To help the seed take root, keep 3 red threads, short lines your mind can grip when life starts spinning. 1, when compassion needs a shoreline. 2, anger is a gatekeeper, not a criminal. 3, a tuning fork doesn't ask permission to be loud, it simply rings true. If you do only 1 thing in the next 24 hours, do the little trio: 1 plain, no, 1 nourishing yes, 10 present breaths. Let's open 1 more gentle door: community. Empaths need places to be seen as souls with spines, not free emotional gas stations. Comment with a very short line in this structure, image, action, and 24H 1-sentence boundary. Example, narrow stairs, move the late meeting to morning to protect quality. Let's talk at 10 a.m. tomorrow. When you write, you're lighting a lamp for someone who hasn't dared to step yet. We'll read with respect, no fixing, just witnessing. Worried you'll slip back. Of course, some old days will knock again. Don't turn that into a verdict. Integration isn't a straight line. It's a spiral downstay, up then deeper by 1 layer. When you lose rhythm, return to the 5-minute right. When you're tired, shrink life to the non-negotiables. Good sleep, warm food, 1 touch of earth, a short walk, watering a plant, standing in sunlight. These aren't small, they're the structure that keeps the psyche from leaking through invisible cracks. The destination isn't invulnerability. The destination is steadiness. You no longer need to explain your boundaries. You can feel the reservoir filling before it spills. You can sit beside a difficult emotion without rescuing someone just to escape it. Love with structure isn't cold. It becomes trustworthy. Compassion with banks doesn't dry up. It becomes supple. And you, when you stop trying to be the lamp for every room, become a warm home with steady light, where people come not to eat your light, but to sit in quiet with you. Before goodbye, here's a short living promise. Read it softly to your own heartbeat. I allow myself to feel, but I will not dissolve. I honor the dark as the soul's messenger, but it will not hold the wheel. I love with structure. Yes is sacred, no seals the right. I am not the answer to every hunger. I am the host of my own light. No grand manifestos, just gentle consistency. If an old whisper rises, what if I'm selfish? Smile. That's a loyal persona reflex. Hand on chest. One longer exhale and remember selfishness takes what belongs to others. Self-respect returns what is theirs and tends what is yours. The world needs hearts that don't burn out, people who say no at the right time, so their yes is gold. In older traditions, people mark their foreheads with ash to remember our fragility. Today, you only need an anchor object, a ring, a pen, a small stone. When anxiety becomes a fierce guard, touch the anchor and whisper, "The ritual is closed." Then do the next thing, small but real. A deep life isn't built by grand jolts. It's woven from breaths, bridges, and candles. If this had value, subscribe, ring the bell, and share it with someone who needs a small candle, not for noise, but to add just enough light for them to find their next step. When the video ends, the world will be loud again. Phones will buzz, inboxes will fill. But you now carry something no one can take: interior architecture. Each slightly longer exhale is a brick. Each clean no is a latch. Each structured yes is a lit window. Inside this house, the animus is no longer a critic. He's a kind gatekeeper. The shadow no longer roars. It sits, tells its story, and waits to be integrated. You're no longer a buffet for the world's hunger. You're a warm table where responsibility is served before intimacy. If you want 3 long-remembered lines like stepping stones, carry these. Light has a shoreline. Without it, the torchbearer gets burned. Stand with, not instead of. Healing isn't relocating pain. It's returning and supporting. Honor, do not repeat. The noblest loyalty frees descendants from exhaustion. If you have a few seconds, step to the doorway. Night or day is fine. One hand on belly, one on heart. Inhale for 4, hold for 4. Exhale for 7. Imagine old threads drifting off like smoke and new ones soft, steady, tying your light to the warm embankment of a life with a spine. Tomorrow you may still be tired, the world may still be loud, but inside something has settled. You no longer pay the tax of existence with burnout. From that calm, your kindness grows wise, durable, beautiful, like a lighthouse standing in its rightful place. So each ship steers itself and the sea is allowed to be the sea. If this touched you, subscribe so we can keep a gentle weekly appointment, and share it with a friend who rescues everyone but themselves, like laying a warm blanket over their shoulders on a windy night. In the comments, leave 3 things where you'll build one boundary this week, how your body signals overflow, and one small ritual you want the community to help you keep. I read every line, not to fix anyone's life, but to walk alongside. And if you'd like to lift this community, one like and one share to a worn-out friend is its own gentle ritual. See you in the next video, where we'll practice shoreline language, short, potent phrases. How to keep your voice rock steady while your heart stays water soft. And how to let light pass through without snuffing out the night, because the night is half of life.